Hi guys, my name is Brandy Trebo, and I am going to give my oral presentation today on the same thing that I did my infographic on, which is anxiety in teens today. I'm going to give you a few statistical standpoints that I have researched a little bit for my infographic, but are also handy for this assignment. We're just to talk a little bit about why we think teens are more anxious today and some things that we can do potentially to help, some things that maybe we haven't thought to implement or that we should implement just a little bit more. So there's no question that there's a rise in anxiety nationwide, not just specifically for teens. Across the board, suicide rates are at an all-time high. People are being treated for anxiety and depression. I mean, almost everybody knows somebody who is dealing with this issue. In a study done according to the National Institutes of Health, nearly 30% of teens ages 13 to 18 will experience anxiety at some point in their life. 33%, a third. So 1 out of every 3 teenagers is going to deal with some form of anxiety or depression in their lifetime. That's pretty high. It's a pretty high number. I haven't really found any concrete statistics that says what the rate was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, but I can almost promise you that the number was drastically smaller than it is today. So another study said that girls are at higher risk than boys, and nobody can really pinpoint why that is, if it's a hormonal thing, if it's something along that lines, but that's also something that's proven. And for starters, I would like to take a look at what is defined, how anxiety is defined. Anxiety is defined as a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Psychiatrists define it as a nervous disorder characterized by a state of excessive uneasiness and apprehension, typically with impulsive behavior or panic attacks. The biggest question to me, and what I would really like to get into, and what I looked into for my infographic while looking at sources, and is why. Why is it so much more prevalent today? Why are teens today dealing with this on a much larger scale than teens were even when I was a teenager 20-something years ago, or when my mother was a teenager 50-something years ago? Why is it on a rise today? Why is it such a big thing today? An article that I read and used as a source in my infographic that was published by the Washington Post says that some of that could be credited to the rise of social media, the rise of digital forms of media that our kids are using, TVs, iPads, phones. I have 2 young children, 2 little boys aged 4 and 7, and then I have a 15-year-old daughter. And my boys, they'll play. They'll play in their rooms, they'll play with their toys, they'll play imaginative play, it is a struggle to get my teenage daughter to do anything besides sit on her phone all the time, Snapchatting her friends, checking out Instagram, TikTok, it's always something. So they say that could play a big part, that we know that teen bullying, cyberbullying is such a major issue these days, leading to anxiety, depression, even suicide in worst case scenario. So they think that could be some of the problem. Some of the other problem is the socioeconomical status in some of these families, in some of these homes. It's also, I don't know if I could say that it's proven, but it's suggested in some case studies that children whose parents deal with anxiety and depression are going to be kind of pre-genetically disposed to deal with that in their lifetime as well. Another factor is both parents are working most of the time these days. Children are left to their own sometimes. Children are left to be the parent in some cases, to deal with their young siblings by themselves, to do the work that parents should be doing. And I think this is just a really sad situation. And I think some of the things that we could do to provide help, one of the things that I try really hard to do with my own kids is to make sure that that our home is the safe place, that they have a safe, loving environment that is judgment-free, that is a place that they can come and express those emotions, tell us why they're feeling this way, tell me what's going on, we can talk it out, we can work it out. I think Um, Medication probably in teenagers is not something that's strongly suggested. It's not the first thing that I would do. I think things like therapy, talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, those are things that are massively underutilized. I got divorced 2 years ago, and it was not a very good divorce, very bad situation. All three of my children have been in counseling since then. I want them to know that it's not a big deal to need help. I want them to know that it's okay to not be okay, and I want them to know that there's a place that they can go to talk to someone and to let someone know and help them process what's going on. And I just think those are some of the things that we could do. Obviously, this is something I've wasted 5 minutes and 39 seconds, but this is something that we could get into so much deeper because it's such a big thing. But I think making sure our kids are okay, making sure we're checking in on them, and making sure that they know that there's a place that they can go for help is very important.